Am I the a-hole for making my daughter choose a different restaurant for her birthday meal than the one she really wanted? My 39F daughter very recently had her 17th birthday. My husband, 42M, and I told her to pick out a restaurant that she'd like us to take her to for her birthday. She chose a seafood restaurant that we had never been to. While looking over the menu, I saw that the vast majority of the dishes contained shellfish. There were a few fish entrees, as well as some surf and turf, but there were only a couple of non-seafood dishes. Our son, 15M, is deathly allergic to shellfish. He also can't stand fish, so there were only a couple of dishes there that he could actually eat. I didn't want to take him there because I knew that he wouldn't really enjoy his meal, and I was worried about cross-contamination. I told my daughter that this restaurant wouldn't work and that she would have to pick out a different one. My son said that he would be fine just staying home, that we could use the money that we would have spent on his meal to just order him a pizza instead. My husband also insisted that since it was our daughter's birthday that she should be able to choose the restaurant and that our son would be fine home alone with pizza and video games. But here's the thing, we can only afford to go out as a family every so often. When we splurge on a restaurant meal, I want both of our children there. I insisted and my daughter chose a different place, and we had a nice meal as a family, but she is still a little salty that she didn't get to have her first choice of restaurants. Most people I've asked say I'm wrong, but again, we can only afford to go out every so often. Is it so wrong that I wanted to do it as a family? My daughter still had a nice birthday meal.
Am I the a-hole for telling my sister it was her fault our parents were cold to her after she accused my mom of cheating? So my parents have a pretty atypical relationship style, but it works for them. They don't hug or kiss, and they have a pretty calm marriage. My younger sister is in college, and she came home with some really weird ideas. She told me and our parents that she wanted to present something she did in class. I didn't want to see it, but my mom was excited and supportive. So we gathered in the living room, and she pulls out a slideshow which ended with "Mom is a cheating harlot." Mom was confused and heartbroken. Dad is yelling at my sister, and my mind is just blanking. She presents her evidence. A really blurry pic of Mom in her car with a guy wearing a baseball cap. She also said that Mom's put in time to look good, she's getting flowers, and she went through the trash to find out that Mom had thrown out some incriminating stuff. Well, she wasn't Sherlock Holmes. The guy in the car with Mom was my dad. They're just having a fun time because we're not kids who live at home anymore. Now my sister is complaining that our parents are acting cold, especially Dad. He had never been cold to her before. Mom forgave her pretty quickly, but Dad is really mad for disrespecting his wife and our mom. She said that she was looking out for Dad, and it wasn't fair that he was being mean and distant. I told her it was her fault, and she started crying. My family found out about her stunt because my sister was going to send it to them, and some of them said I was the a-hole because she did it out of love. So, am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for asking to borrow my girlfriend's car after I made fun of it? My girlfriend is a very practical person and has as long as it runs, I don't care, kind of mentality towards cars and most things in general. I am an amateur mechanic and really like cars. Currently I'm driving and working on my BMW 535i. My girlfriend has a 2015 Toyota RAV4 which she bought new. I have joked it is ugly and it made her very angry. I mean, I didn't think she took it so seriously. My parents live in the mountains now, and my mom had her tonsils removed after frequent strep infections. I wanted to visit her, but there was a lot of snowfall which froze, and my car is a rear-wheel drive. I asked to switch cars with my girlfriend, and she said no. When I asked why, she told me because I kept making fun of it. I haven't made fun of her car for months, and it's ridiculous she still remembers and is making a big deal out of borrowing her car. I argued with her, but she wouldn't budge and told me to rent a car if it was such a big deal. Last-minute rentals are like $150 a day, and I plan to stay overnight. $300 for a 3-hour drive seems crazy, and I offered to pay her $100 for her car for the weekend and got shut down. I feel like she is being childish, but am I the a-hole here for making fun of her car?
Am I the a-hole for wearing my shorts without underwear around the house? A while ago, the band I-19F listened to had put out short shorts with the band logo in the front and the name in the back. They were limited edition, 200 pieces to a color palette. I managed to buy the pink ones and they barely arrived for a festival I attended where said band was playing. I listen to the band very often and like to talk about the lyrics, the sound, and I've got basically 90% of songs memorized. So, I'd say I'm a big fan of them. My friend, 22M, is as well. I like wearing shorts around the house as pajamas basically, and sometimes wear just the shorts. My friend once commented on me wearing them like this, but it was just a remark, at least that's how I read it as. As people might know, when someone with a kitty wears underwear or not, there's still this viscous liquid that produces from it and it sometimes stains underwear or anything else like such. But it oftentimes doesn't do anything and after one wash the clothing piece is fine. My friend got really mad at me after a while for wearing the shorts like this because of the resale value, saying I've ruined the shorts and will not be able to get the money back for them if I want to sell them to a different fan. I don't give a damn about the resale value, I bought them for myself and will do what I want with them. If I want to wear them as pajamas, I will do so, and I don't really care if it ruined the product. I really like these shorts, so I definitely won't resell them. Edit. 1. He found them in the laundry bin and noticed a stain on them. 2. He collects expensive Pokemon cards and merch, so that might be where the idea comes from of reselling clothing?
Am I the a-hole for being honest when my dad asked where my mom was on my wedding morning? I recently married my beautiful wife Amanda. She isn't the biggest fan of my mom, and that is probably mutual. Amanda knows I am on her side and here to support any boundaries. She was concerned about how my mom would behave at the wedding, and admitted to not wanting to spend any more time with her than absolutely necessary. I ended up going to my mom's husband Chris and asking if he had any thoughts so we could all have a peaceful day, and no bridesmaids would need to accidentally spill anything. At first, he didn't want to help, but he didn't want my mom to feel embarrassed and gave in. He said it was already going to be a long day for her, so he recommended no pre-wedding festivities and said he would get her out of the rehearsal dinner early, so she had enough time in between. The day of the wedding, she was not invited to get ready with the bridal party or have a champagne breakfast. Instead, Chris took her to the beach for a long run, then took her to a nice breakfast, home for some one-on-one attention, and let her know he had a special day planned the following day. She got her makeup done at their house and came just in time for the wedding. My stepmom Lexi was however invited to get ready with the bridal party. I guess she told my dad that my mom wasn't there, and he asked me. I told him the truth that Chris was taking care of her as it would be too long a day for her. I guess he told someone else because my mom found out and was furious. She asked how I could humiliate her and said I'm a crappy son. She said I could have said nothing and accused me of not loving her, said she knows the truth that we just don't like her or want her around. Chris also got mad and said he regretted helping me. I felt kind of bad after that encounter and was wondering, am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for taking my kids to my rude parents because they stay on their computers all day? I, 45M, recently kicked my kids, 16M twins, out of the house for not helping us and just sitting around and playing on their damn computers. My wife, last week, asked them to clean up the house because her distant cousins were coming back to America. They did nothing the whole day, they were just on their computers. I asked them 3 times and I've had enough because this always happens. I told them if you guys don't clean up at the end of the day, I will kick you out. I will send you to your grandparents. My parents are known to be really rude. They always criticize us for everything they do not like. My kids, even though they were warned, still didn't do anything. So, I fulfilled my promise and drove them to my parents. They were begging me not to let them go, but I was done. I told them that they were only going to be there for 1 week until the cousins were gone. Right now, it's the 3rd day and my wife was screaming at me for doing this to my kids. So, am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for giving my ex-girlfriend her ticket for Taylor Swift but canceling everything else? I'm working overseas right now, and I managed to get tickets for Taylor Swift in Singapore. The concert is this coming Saturday. My plan was to fly my girlfriend over for a little vacation. It's a long ways from Connecticut, so she was going to be staying for 10 days. I was clear and told her that we would have 2 weekends together, as well as the evenings, but that I still had to work during the daytime. Last week she called me and said she was not okay with this being a long distance and that after the concert we were over. I asked for clarification. She said she would come for the 10 days, and we could have fun time, but that we were done. I can have fun without paying for it. I transferred her the 1 ticket and canceled everything else. The ticket was a birthday gift. I promised it to her, so that's why I transferred that. She called me to scream at me for canceling the flights and hotel. I told her that I wasn't going to discuss it and hung up, then blocked her on everything. I am hearing from people back home that she has lost her marbles. She had been bragging about getting to see Taylor Swift and the vacation. Now she is telling everyone that I canceled the plans just out of the blue. I guess that is sort of true. I did not discuss it with her before I made my decision and did what I did. I unblocked her long enough to offer to buy the ticket back if she wasn't going to use it. That conversation was unpleasant and involved a lot of profanity. The upshot was she would rather let it go to waste than let me have it. Her friends have been defending her and calling me an a-hole. My position is that I would feel like a John flying her over for a fun time.
Am I the a-hole for being truthful and admitting that I find my wife unattractive after her surgery? My wife had plastic surgery recently. We had discussed it and I was against it, but it was obviously not my decision and ultimately I had no say. She looks weird now. She had the fat sucked out of her face, lip fillers, a neck lift, other stuff I don't really get. She gives me uncanny valley vibes now. It freaks me out. She is fully healed now and she wants us to go back to normal, like me initiating fun time. I have done so, but not as much as I used to, and when I do, I try and make sure there is very little light. It's been a few months and I kind of dread having to look at her. Obviously, she has noticed. She has been bugging me to tell her what's up. I've tried telling her I'm just tired from work or that I'm run down, really anything except for the truth. She broke down and asked me if I was having an affair. I said that I wasn't. She asked to look at my phone, I unlocked it for her and handed it over. I wasn't worried about her finding anything because there is nothing to find. She spent an hour looking through it and found nothing. She asked me to explain why I changed. I tried explaining that I just wasn't that interested right now. Nothing I said was good enough for her. She kept digging. I finally told the truth. I wasn't harsh or brutally honest. I just told her that her new face wasn't something I found attractive and that I was turned off. She asked if that's why I turn off all the lights now. I said yes. She started crying and said that she needed time alone, so she went to stay with her sister. I have been called every name in the book since this happened. Her sister said I'm a piece of crap for insulting my wife's looks. Her friends all think I'm the a-hole. I tried not to say anything. I can't force myself to find her attractive. I still love her, but her face is just weird now. She looks like the blue alien from The Fifth Element.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my brother's wedding after he excluded my wife? So here's the deal. My brother is getting married, and he's been planning this extravagant wedding that is way beyond his pay grade. He asked me to help out financially, and because we're family, I agreed. I'm not exactly rolling in dough, but I've done okay for myself, and I wanted to support him. Fast forward to last week, he drops the bomb that my wife isn't invited. His reason? His fiancée and my wife had a falling out years ago over some petty nonsense, and they haven't really talked since. I told him that's ridiculous, it's water under the bridge, and they're both adults who can handle being at the same event. He wouldn't budge. He said it was his fiancée's day, and she didn't want any negative energy. I argued that it's also his day, and as his brother, I should be there with my wife. It got heated, and I ended up telling him if my wife isn't welcome, then he can forget about my financial help. Now, the whole family is blowing up my phone, saying I'm being unreasonable and that I'm ruining what should be the happiest day of his life. They're all on his side, saying it's just one day and my wife can suck it up and just stay home, but I don't see why she should be punished for something so trivial that happened ages ago. So, am I the a-hole for standing by my wife and pulling my financial support for a wedding we're being partially excluded from?
Am I the a-hole for not wanting to cook separate vegan meals for my sister-in-law? My family has a cherished tradition of Sunday dinners. It's a special time for us, and I take pride in making meals everyone enjoys. Lately, things have gotten a little complicated since my brother's wife, Lily, became vegan. She's a wonderful person, and I respect her dietary choices. I always have vegan sides and sometimes even desserts, but Lily would prefer a separate, complete vegan meal every week. I understand where she's coming from, but I'm already stretched thin between my job, side projects, and trying to have a life outside of the kitchen, so making an entire second meal feels overwhelming. Last Sunday, I gently asked Lily if she'd be willing to bring a vegan dish to share with us sometimes. I want her to feel included, but I'm honestly struggling to keep up. My brother was upset, saying I was being unwelcoming. My parents want to keep the peace, but I feel resentful. Am I wrong for wanting to set some boundaries? I want to find a way to make our dinners work for everyone without burning myself out. So am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for having an affair with my girlfriend since she said we are just friends? I, 28M, had been seeing Amanda, 27F, for over a year. We went on dates, were intimate, lived together, basically acted like a couple in every way, except she would insist we were just friends whenever I tried to make it official. It started to really bother me that after a year she still wouldn't acknowledge we were in a relationship. One night at a bar, I met Lisa, who was very forward about being promiscuous. I thought since Amanda and I were just friends, it wouldn't be cheating to hook up with Lisa. So, I took Lisa home to the apartment that Amanda and I shared, and we were cuddling on the bed when Amanda walked in. She was furious and gave me the silent treatment for days. After some groveling apologies from me, she finally agreed to be my official girlfriend. It has been 6 months since. However, Amanda and some of my friends keep saying I was out of line to hook up with Lisa since Amanda and I were clearly more than just friends, despite what she said. But I figured since she kept insisting we were just friends, I was free to see other people. So, am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I don't want her to watch her grandson alone anymore? I, 23F, and my husband, 24M, welcomed our baby boy in September of last year. We moved from his hometown to mine in January in hopes of saving up to buy a house. We moved in with my mom, 50, something she very enthusiastically agreed to. Throughout our few months, she's been a little weird. She's constantly checking to see if he has teeth, pushing for us to stop feeding him milk, and tries to give him really complicated food, like candy yams. Her defense is I did with you and you survived. Most recently, she was holding him and playfully asked him if he wanted water, in which I responded, "Do not give him water, Mom." She proceeds to give it him and goes, "See, he's fine, he is alive still." I immediately took my child from her and informed her that she will no longer be watching the baby alone since she is constantly overstepping my boundaries and doing everything I ask her to not do. She isn't talking to me now and told me I made her feel like a bad parent and grandparent. Am I the a-hole? Is there something I should be doing to make her talk to me? Edit. I pay half the mortgage, utilities, and buy my own food to cook with. I don't rely on her for childcare. Just want to clear that up since I'm seeing a few comments about it.